streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to...
Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, the show where powerful voices, bold ideal, and transformational leadership comes together. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and today's episode is a special one for me. It's about leadership. It's about courage, and it's about making history. Because leadership isn't always about titles. Sometimes it's about being the first person willing to step forward, accept the responsibility, and pave the way for others. My guest today did exactly that. Your takeaways today is going to be learning what it takes to be a trailblazing leader, how resilience shapes leadership, and why great leaders focus on building people, not just organizations. So get ready for a powerful conversation. We'll be right back after this short message. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, where we're speaking life into the moments that matter. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a space where stories are honored, voices are lifted, and truth has a mic. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations on identity, on equity, growth, healing, leadership, and the courage that it takes to speak up in a world that often wants us to keep quiet. Whether it's through personal testimony, community impact, or artistic expression, Born to Speak to You is where voices rise and change begin. Our mission is simple: to empower people to use their voice, own their truth, and build bridges of communication and understanding. So, sit back or lean in, because you're about to witness what happens when passion meets purpose. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life. And we are back. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV. This episode is entitled Voice, Vision, and Leadership, a conversation with Cassandra Lee, who is my guest today. And let me give her a proper introduction. Cassandra Diva of Dialog Lee is the founder of SSANEE Career Growth, Incorporated, a firm that helps professionals and organizations align leadership, identity, performance, and visibility for measurable success. She created the R.H.I.N.E.S.T.O.N.E framework and authored Put on Your R.H.I.N.E.S.T.O.N.E Combat Boots. I want to get that right. 10 Secrets to Jumpstart Your Career Success. She's been a Toastmaster leader since 1998. She served in all of the levels, club, area, division, and district levels, and she was the first District 103 district director in Chicago. A two-time distinguished Toastmaster, she is recognized widely for helping leaders transform how they communicate, lead, and influence. Cassandra, welcome to Born to Speak to You TV.
Thank you, Calvin Gibbs. Thank you so much for having me be present today. I'm honored to be here on your show.
It's a pleasure to have you. Cassandra and I have known each other for a long period of time. We are Toastmaster club mates, and we've worked as officers side by side. So I have been waiting since September to have this episode on leadership and to get you in here. So this is a day that's been in the works for quite a while. So we, as I like
Isn't
to
it
say,
good?
Cassandra,
Isn't it good when dreams can come true, Calvin?
absolutely, absolutely. Every day I'm living a dream,
Yeah.
and I thank God for that dream, for those dreams as well. Well, Cassandra, as I like to say, uh, let me start by asking a question. Can you swim?
Can I swim? No.
Yes.
I
Oh,
can float.
okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I will carry you because we're going to jump right into the deep end. Okay, the
Oh,
deep end.
wow.
Yeah, the deep end is where the party's
Yeah.
at. So, we
Okay,
got
the
to
deep
do
end.
this.
I see a couple of rafters and some
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
safety nets around, so I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. 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 Grab a floaty and, just, just doggy paddle. You'll be fine.
Right.
I got you. I got you. So let's jump in with the leadership journey. This is going to be our first segment. And Cassandra, tell us a little bit about your journey into Toastmasters and what first drew you in.
You have me taking in a deep breath and shaking my head. When I think about my leadership journey, especially my leadership journey into Toastmasters, it was actually because I didn't think I was a leader. I
Mm,
was behind the scenes. I was in roles professionally that were supporting others. Therefore, I worked as an administrative professional, for example. I was comfortable doing that role, yet I had bosses who wanted me to do more, to step more into a leadership role. It wasn't until I say I had two bosses that really challenged my leadership concept. It wasn't until I met the second boss, and the second boss was the one that said, "Listen, you've been here in this role for about 3 months. We're seeing a lot in what your capabilities are, yet I'm also seeing the hesitation and you not fully stepping out and doing certain things." He said, "I know you're still learning the company, so I'll give you that." He said, "But what I want you
right,
to put on your list for growth is I want you to start operating more as a leader." This was during the performance review. So I'm taking notes. I'm literally taking in the information. I'm asking a few questions. And one of the questions I remember asking him was, what does he recommend that I use to further develop my leadership skills? And his comment was something along the line of, "Oh, any leadership book. Just read any leadership book. Any leadership book should do." I wrote a big question mark in my notes and said, "Research leadership books." Yet I had taken in the knowledge gratefully for me and very much for him as well. He ended up meeting one of his colleagues who worked in our other building who was a part of Toastmasters. And he happened to learn that there was a Toastmasters meeting that was happening. They were meeting the second and fourth Tuesdays with the company. And he, in conversation with his friend, learned Toastmasters was more than communication, it was also about leadership development. He came back excited. He had been on his lunch break when he ran into his friend. So he came back from lunch excited, came over to tell me. I pulled out my notes. I'm like, Toastmasters. I thought that was only communication skills. He was like, "I know, but it's not. It's leadership and da da da." And he just went through the whole 9 yards of the conversation that he had with his friend. And the bottom line was this: his friend recommended that I be his guest. He gave a card. He said, "This is my name. Let her know this is who I am. She can be my guest. And if she likes it, then it would be something that your department could pay for her to attend because this is the
right,
professional development resource for the company." Lo and behold, that was in October of that year. By January of the following year, I was a member. By July of that following year, I was also a member and an officer in two roles. And that led into the journey. I didn't think I was a leader, Calvin. That's how my
wow.
Toastmasters leadership journey began. I wanted to strengthen my knowledge. I wanted to also have the experience, yet my belief needed to be elevated. Everyone else around me saw it. I didn't necessarily see it until Toastmasters.
You know, it's funny because sometimes people outside of your circle can see things in you that you can't see. My story, the short version is I joined Toastmasters 2013 in the month of April. And the club that I joined had officer elections for the next Toastmasters year, which start July 1st. They had that in May. So the president of the club said, Calvin, why don't you run for vice president membership? I was like, are you serious, man? I've been to like 3 meetings. I could barely
Right.
find the building.
Right.
And he's like, I see something in you. You'll be fine. We will train you. The district will train you. You will be great. Fast forward to what is this? Almost April 2026, and
Yeah.
I have been an officer of a Toastmasters club for the last 13 years straight. And sometimes I was club officer and district officer as well. So that was my journey in leadership, from somebody seeing something in me that I didn't even know I possessed. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that they saw it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they saw it, because early on there was some lessons that I learned about leadership, and they have been invaluable. So, what were some of the lessons that you may have learned, like early on your first year? Can you remember something you learned?
I would say, and this goes in alignment with what you mentioned about the individual who saw in you. One of the biggest lessons that I learned in leadership in the very beginning was to trust in the belief that others had in you and sometimes borrow their vision to operate into that belief. Borrowing that vision when you may not be able to see it and other people are, if you do have the belief, you can borrow that vision and operate in that vision. I think for me, like I said, that first October to January became a member, January to July became an officer in 2 officer roles. I was new too. I was still feeling through the program and understanding what this Toastmasters world was all about. Who said I could actually do 2 roles simultaneously, let alone really getting good with one? I needed to borrow that belief. I think that's the
Yeah,
primary solution or that primary answer that I have is to make certain that you tap into it, especially if you believe it yourself.
yeah, yeah. And my story follows that track as well, because that very next year, within my first year, well, I should say going into the second year, I was an area director, and the
Hmm.
year after that, a division director. And then I
Yeah.
played with the idea of actually being, part of the district trio. I actually played with that idea, and I honestly must say I play with that idea every single year since then.
Hmm.
I just haven't made that leap, because that's a bigger pool. And I can swim, but I'm not sure I can swim that good.
Come on now, you have us in the deep end. Come on.
Oh
Yeah.
man. So Cassandra, along the way, can you tell us a little bit about some of the influences that help shape your leadership style? I'm not going to ask you
Hmm.
about the mentors, but just the influences that may have helped shape your leadership style.
Well, I think mentors are a part of that. For me, being able to walk into the thought and seeing myself as a leader really did start with observing those who were around me. And some of them were indirect mentors. I had those direct mentors, the people who were like the bosses or the professional development mentor that I had on the side. But other people who were in leadership roles or other people who operated like a leader, fellow colleagues that might have been on my same level, colleagues that were at levels above me, colleagues who were in positions that were not always accessible to me, but when I had the opportunity to see them from time to time, I observed how they behaved as a leader, how they treated people, how people responded to them. Those indirect mentors helped. And I'm calling them mentors because I saw something. They gave me the ability to witness what it was like to walk in the skin of a leader and be comfortable with it without always having a leadership title.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So let's move on to you becoming the first district director. A little backstory for everybody is that we were part of a District 103, District 30 that had grown, and Toastmasters International decided to split the district and create a new one called District 103. And Cassandra happened to be the first district director of District 103. Cassandra, what did that moment mean to you?
Ooh, that meant a lot first. It meant a lot because people believed in my abilities to be the first. I was asked at least 4 years prior to the district becoming the district to consider it, to think about it, to, hey, take on that role. People thought I could do it. It felt like an honor that people believed in me to be the first to lead that brand new district. The second that it meant to me is the fact that it meant a lot for my leadership legacy. Someone who didn't think that they were a leader, all of a sudden now I'm the first district director of District 103. I will always be the first district director of District 103 Toastmasters. And that is a part of my legacy. Someone who started from the belief down at the bottom to being able to rise to the top with literal action showing this is the district, brand new. It set the tone for all of the other years that followed, and the district didn't crumble under my leadership, which was my main goal. We coming out the gate, making it happen. We need to make this a viable district. And I'm so proud that I was able to do that with the team that I worked with. And the fact,
Mhm.
again, that it started with that belief that I was able to borrow, tap into, and follow.
Okay, great. Thank you. You know, I've been wanting to ask you some questions about that for a long, long time. And as I was going through my list of questions this morning, I crossed out a lot of them because I was like,
Hmm.
this is my chance. This is my opportunity to ask Cassandra these questions that I didn't ask. What year were you a district director? Was it 2018?
2017, 2018, July 1st, my birthday, 2017, until June
Right,
30th of 2018.
right. So almost um, six, seven, no, 8 years
Oh,
later,
yeah.
almost 8 years later, I finally get a chance to ask you, what were some of the challenges of leading a newly formed district?
Whew. Let's see. The number one challenge for me was the fact of leading a team of individuals where everyone's schedule was in so many different directions, which meant everyone's level of commitment ended up being in so many different directions. Almost immediately, I had to find a new second in command because unfortunately health related issues came in. My second in command had to step back. The next area were finding division directors. Beauty was they were promoted on their jobs, new roles. They were able to get an opportunity to advance in their career, which I celebrate because for me, the belief is when you're in Toastmasters, you should be able to use it for your career advancement. And that's exactly what two of my division directors were able to do. Area directors, that was the
Hmm.
next area. Area directors, you typically start the year and you have most of the team here, some of the team there. Oops, you have some missing team members over here. I, like every district director since me in 103, we found we did not always have all of the area directors. And what I am so proud of is that My team was the leanest team out of all of the district teams for 103. We were the most productive. And I shouldn't say only my year was the most productive because every district director will say their year was productive. Yet I say that my team was productive from the standpoint that we did have to move forward without having everyone in place. Yet we were able to strategize on what those most important goals were for the year, focus in those key areas, do the work to make those things occur. And that helped. I would say
Mhm.
again, biggest challenge was leading the team of people where everyone's priorities were in different directions based on life, based on career, and based on whys. Basically, why they're
Yeah.
there, why are they in their the positions? And
Mhm.
fortunately, most people stuck with their why they were in that position and in that role, and they lasted for the entire year. So those
Okay.
were the challenges. And oh yeah, I'm just thinking about the health, those health challenges in particular, because for a moment it was scary. There were two team members that I actually thought we were going to lose because of those health issues. And that started in July. It's like, I'm 2 weeks in and automatically we're in emergency rooms and late night calls. And yeah, that was the scariest part. Yet being able to get through it, that was the resilience of the team.
Okay. Well, when you have a not only a new team, but a new district, and you're building unity, you're actually building the culture of the district. What approach, what are some of the approaches that you used?
Making the attempt to build the culture of the district where we could be resourceful within our district. Again, we came from an established district, District 30, an established district. District 103 being brand new, we many times kept leaning on District 30. And by the second half of the year, I had to tell my team, listen, we will never stand on our own as a district if we're constantly looking to District 30 for assistance. We have talent here in this district. It is time for us to find who those individuals are, reach out and start developing leaders that can be a part of the process later on down the line. That is for me something that had to become a decision that I stood by.
Okay.
And it
All
was
right.
from the division on to the clubs, and it was basically look at who you have around you, who are your successors, who's coming behind you that can be in these roles, who can you tap into for their speaking talent, who can be in these contests, who do you know that have leadership abilities that can lead some of these committees. Let's look within and let's find them, because if we don't do that now, we will not have them 5 years, 10 years down the line.
Right. Well, we're going to put a pin in this conversation right now, and we're going to have a short commercial break. We'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. We're having a great conversation with my guest, Cassandra Lee. This episode is called Voice, Vision, and Leadership. And let's keep the conversation going. I want to move into the area of the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Toastmasters Club, lovingly known as WAYO.
Well, yes.
Please tell us what inspired that name.
What inspired that name was one of the founding members, or one of the charter members, one of the charter officers, I should say. When we thought about the name of the club itself, we recognized we're being named after the library where we were hosted. Fortunately, at that time, there was a branch manager who so believed in professional development, so supported the establishment of a Toastmaster club in her branch, that we fell in love with her and thought, can we name the library, name our club after this library? She was like, sure. And all of the founding officers thought that would be the easiest, because when we were sitting around the table brainstorming names, everybody was stuck. We were like, what? So, Wrightwood Ashburn, the Chicago Public Library, is where we meet. Wrightwood Ashburn was the very first library that said yes to us being able to have the club there. We talked to various clubs around the city of Chicago, south side of Chicago in particular, yet it was the Wrightwood Ashburn Library that thought, why not? It's been a long time coming. We should have it here. The member who was sitting at the table kept saying the phrase, Wrightwood Ashburn, Wrightwood Ashburn, right? We need something else besides Wrightwood Ashburn. We don't want to sound exactly like the library. I know we'll have Toastmasters Club behind it, yet Wrightwood Ashburn. And next thing she said was so impactful was the fact that it made all of us see the light bulb go off. And her comment was, everyone who's going to come to this library, to this Toastmasters Club, is overcoming something, whether it's overcoming a fear of public speaking, overcoming challenges with leading, overcoming low self esteem, whatever. Everyone is overcoming something. She said, I think we should put overcomers in our name. It was a table full of silent people with our mouths hanging open, and we were like, that is it. That is so it. That is great. We love it. Let's call it that. And we kept saying it. We wrote it out. I was like, "Ooh, this is a really long name." However, we are the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers. Wayo
WAYO.
Toastmasters Club, right? And that was the other thing she gave us that day too. So when she wrote it out on paper, actually, I wrote it first, and then passed the paper around, and she wrote it where she put the period behind the first three letters, the first three words. Wrightwood, just put the W. Ashburn, put the A. Overcomers, put the O. WAO. She said, well, it looks Swahili.
Mm.
To which we chuckled. She said, now I don't know if it's a Swahili name or at all. She said, however, this is a mouthful to say, as Cassandra mentioned, yet Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers will just shorten it to Wayo. And we've
Yep.
been saying it that way ever since. Now, even
Yep.
with its own theme song.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I know that, we all are still overcoming different things, challenges.
Yeah.
But how has overcoming challenges shaped you as a leader?
Mm. How has overcoming challenges shaped me as a leader?
Yeah,
That is such a loaded question.
I know it is. I know it is.
I think first I would say it has shaped me as a person.
Mm,
Shaping me as a person then influences my leadership. Overcoming challenges. I think about when I first founded Wayo Toastmasters Club. One of the big life lessons for me was the fact that I am very task oriented. And this was something that was seen on the job. This was something that my mentors recognized. Even my life advisor, my godmother, would remind me, you're so focused on the task. You can't forget the people.
Mm,
Forming and founding the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Wayo Toastmasters Club challenged my every fiber with not remaining a task oriented person, building and developing that people orientation that's needed every single day. Even to this day, we're 21 years old as a Toastmasters club. That is still a life lesson for me that's being challenged each and every time. Am I the same person that I was then? No. Have I grown in my leadership abilities because of it? Absolutely. Yet the lesson that for me helped with leadership started with it influenced me as a person, then it influenced my leadership abilities.
all right. All right. Now, what advice would you give to someone that says, "Hey, Cassandra, I'm just not ready to lead yet"?
I would do that first, chuckle, and then I would say, listen, you're leading every single day. Leadership
Mm,
doesn't mean that you have a title of a leader, meaning you may not be a director, a CEO, a founder. You could be a parent, a sibling, a friend, a community member, a church choir singer. You could be in a variety of different roles in all aspects of your life, yet you are influencing others. At the end of the day, that's what leadership is about. Leadership is about being able to influence others to achieve a goal. That's my simplistic definition of it. Leadership is about being able to influence others to achieve a common goal. Whatever that common goal is for the parent or for the household, whatever that common goal
hmm.
is for the choir, whatever that common goal is for the team at your workplace, you're influencing others. You're using your words, you're using your actions, you're using your tone of voice, you're using your thoughts, you're using your comments to influence others to achieve a common goal. In a
Absolutely.
nutshell, that's what I would say. You're leading every day. Now you're just going to get the practice with making it more official.
Absolutely. And in my mentorship, um, I try to tell my proteges that they use their voice every single day. So let's change the mindset and speak positivity. That's what the motto of this show is all about. Speaking life into the moments that matter.
Yes.
Instead of dealing with negativity or spewing negativity, throw out something positive. Throw out something that's going to help you and help somebody else. And let that seed grow. Let it find its place in the soil. Nurture it, water it, watch it grow, and see what it becomes.
Yes.
See what you can become. See
Very
what
true.
I can become. That's what this is all about, Cassandra. So thank you very much for that. We're going to take another little break here, and we'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and we'll be right back in 60 seconds. Actually, we're going to keep going. Our next segment, Cassandra, is leadership and the power of voice. Now, I know you're a professional speaker. So, how does communication influence leadership?
There I
She,
go
she,
chuckling again, right?
she laughs again. She laughs
Woo!
again.
Listen, it's at the heart of leadership. Leadership and communication are like peanut butter and jelly, butter on popcorn, M&Ms with the chocolate, meaning
Hmm.
they go together.
That's right. That's right.
There There are times when leaders may not communicate as effectively as they could, yet they are using their leadership skills and their communication skills simultaneously. Communication is the heart of leadership.
I definitely agree with that. I often tell people that it's so important to find their voice. As a new speaker, I was having difficulties because I was trying to sound like somebody else,
Mhm.
and it wasn't working for me. I knew what I wanted to say, but I was trying to say it as someone else would say it. When
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
finally found my voice, and it's so important for everybody to find their voice, then the messages became bigger, they became stronger because Calvin's talking now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be Mr. So and so or Madam So and. I'm speaking from my experience, from my knowledge, from my heart,
Yeah.
and the message resonates so much better. So I always tell people finding your voice is essential for leaders.
And I think you're onto something with that, Calvin, as well. You don't want to have the voice of others. You may have multiple mentors around you. You will learn from them, but you don't want to be them. You don't want to
Hmm.
necessarily become them and lose who you are, meaning that level of authenticity is there. Great mentors are going to assist you with maintaining your level of authenticity. What I like about Toastmasters is that you do have that learning curve. You have those growth moments. You have the opportunity where if you come in making the attempt to sound like one of the world's greatest motivational speakers, you're going to recognize there's only one world's greatest motivational speaker, and then there's you. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, find your own messages, and deliver them in your own way that will allow you to maintain your voice, which means then you're operating from your level of authenticity in your leadership abilities. Finding your voice, like you said, Calvin, is essential to leadership. And every person, no matter if they're in Toastmasters or not, you want
Hmm.
to find what makes you unique in influencing others to get those goals accomplished.
That is so true. That is so true. So we're going to take our break. We'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Give us 60 seconds. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And now we're going to have straight talk with Calvin. Let me give you a little straight talk. Leadership is one of the most misunderstood words in the world. Too many people think that leadership begins when someone gives you a title: district director, president, CEO, manager. But the truth is, leadership begins long before the title even shows up. Leadership begins the moment you decide that you are responsible for taking something and making it better than when you found it. What Cassandra Lee did as the first district director of District 103 wasn't just about building an office. It was about stepping into a moment where there was really like no roadmap, there was no blueprint, there was no guarantee of success. Now that's real leadership. Real leadership means you're sometimes the first voice in the room. It means sometimes you're the first person willing to step forward, and sometimes the first person that's willing to take the criticism that comes with progress. But let me say something else. A lot of people are waiting to be chosen to lead. Yes, they're waiting to be chosen to lead. Chosen by their boss, chosen by an organization, chosen by someone that thinks that they're ready. But history shows us something very different. Most great leaders weren't chosen, they stepped forward. They saw a need, they saw a gap, they saw an opportunity to help people grow. And they said four simple words: I will take responsibility. Now that's leadership. It's not about perfection, it's about courage. And if you're watching this today, let me challenge you with this one question: where in your life, where in your community, where in your organization is leadership waiting for you? This is Straight Talk with Calvin. Thank you for listening. And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and my guest for this episode is Cassandra, Diva of Dialog Lee. We've been talking about voice, vision, and leadership in this great conversation. Cassandra, I want to continue with leadership and the power of voice. Some of the slides we just saw mentioned the power of story. All stories have power, but there's also power in voice. So my question to you is about what mistakes do many leaders make when communicating with their teams? Over my 13 years in Toastmasters, I've learned how to better communicate with my teams so that they can understand the vision, putting it into words. And sometimes you got to break it down like a fraction because somebody may not quite get it. But the transference of the vision from your head through your mouth to their brain. What mistakes do some leaders make when they're doing that?
For a moment there, Calvin, I thought you were getting ready to say, over my dead body. Don't you? You got pulled in for a moment. Yeah, when I think about some of the mistakes that leaders tend to make, it goes right in alignment with what you were mentioning with that vision being in the head, being able to speak it out through the mouth and give that vision to the team members. Many times there's that disconnect. There are some leaders who don't communicate the vision at all. It sounds as if these are directives that are being provided. There's no why behind what's being done, and team members sometimes need that. The second mistake that I would say that leaders tend to make, besides not communicating the vision, is not communicating in the way that their team members need, because every team member has a different communication style. What I appreciate about Toastmasters is that it teaches us both communication style and leadership style. Yet anyone can have that example of what those styles are, whether they've ever taken a DISC test or the Myers Briggs or the Winnie the Pooh personality assessment. Basically, anytime you've ever done any type of assessment, what you discovered is some people are people oriented, other people are task oriented. There are some people who are very direct and to the point, and there are those who like the fluff and go around the woods and down the hills and through the mountains. Basically, leaders must remember their team members have different communication styles.
Right.
They should communicate those messages in a way that incorporates all of those styles. If they can do that, they can then get more of their team members on board with that vision. Communicate that vision, communicate within those styles of the team members, keeping them varied and recognizing team members are different. That will help. And finally, I would say not giving team members the opportunity to speak their thoughts or opinions on those visions. It depends, of course, on the environment you're in. Perhaps we're blessed. Perhaps we're, I don't want to say coddled, yet perhaps it's easier for us in a Toastmasters environment because we have the opportunity to voice opinions and have the parliamentary procedure being used. We have a little more flexibility, I think, in some corporate environments. Yet, even in corporate environments where people have a say in what they thought, what they feel, what they envision with the vision, they feel more of that connection to it, which means they give more of their buy in. If leaders
Hmm.
can communicate that vision, if leaders can communicate in the styles that are varied, different styles, and also if they can communicate the vision in a way that allows the team members to share their thoughts, that tends to help. Will I say that's the end all to be all? Absolutely not. Those three suggestions that I'm providing will need to be applied in every situation in the best way that it fits those situations. Yeah,
Absolutely.
thinking,
Absolutely.
talking about it, right? You got to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a leader, I often find that sometimes that input is valuable to me because I
Yes.
don't know everything. An idea may come, something I have in mind. They may have a just a little tweak to it or whatever. We can make it better. So those inputs to me are very valuable.
I want to add something to that, Calvin, because
Oh,
you were
sure. Go ahead.
mentioning what mistakes leaders sometimes make. As a bonus point, I would say
Hmm.
they fail to receive the feedback.
Oh, so
They
true.
fail to receive that feedback. I'm thinking back to about a year ago this time with the WAO Toastmasters Club. We did an anniversary celebration, a 20-year anniversary celebration. And I remember being in the team meeting where we were debriefing, and there were lots of comments that were provided. And many of those comments were provided for me to be able to tweak and do things differently for the next time. 2 days ago, I thought about two of the suggestions that were given in that moment. And I thought, wow, if I had been the Cassandra I had been when 20 years ago this club first got started, I would have had an attitude and not even appreciated that advice. Yet I had to celebrate the fact that look at me, remembering that advice and making sure I'm putting in the plan to provide for the future the suggestions that the committee provided. If you, as a leader, fail to receive that feedback, block yourself from getting that feedback, or even hesitating on using that feedback, then you will not be able to really fully live out that vision. That's my
That's
bonus
right.
tip for the
That's
leaders.
right. I call that growth. You know,
Growth.
when when I can do that, I call it Calvin. You're growing. You're growing, and I
Yep, a
am not
raise
the.
the roof moment.
I am not. As much as I thought the Calvin that joined Toastmasters in 2013 was, in place, knew what he needed to know and everything like that. I have grown so much. My way of thinking, even my way of seeing people. I'm not going to tell you what I used to think about people in general, but that has changed.
Yeah.
That has changed to the point because being from Brooklyn, New York, from just New York in general,
Hmm.
they don't really talk to a lot of strangers, and now I do. Now I do.
Oh.
Whenever I'm in the line somewhere and there's a long line, the people around me, oh, I'm going to conversate with them.
Hmm.
I'm going to crack some jokes, find out their story, talk to them a little bit, and maybe just give them a ray of light. Speak some life into whatever that moment is. So, Cassandra, we're going to wind down right now. Uh, I do have one last question for you, and on the screen you can see that you can reach Cassandra at her website, which is divaofdialog.com. And Cassandra, what's next for you?
Wow, what's next for me? So many goodies are in the works for me. I say so many goodies are in the oven right now that are almost finalized being done. Yet I'll focus on what's next for me from a standpoint of leadership. I say continue growth with leadership. I started as someone who didn't think I was a leader. Now I've experienced leadership at various levels within the organization, both inside of Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters. I'm so pleased with the growth that I've had that I don't want that growth to end. I say, as long as I still have eyes that open and breath that comes out my body, there is an opportunity to continue to practice leadership. I'll use, of course, Toastmasters as the foundation for that continuous growth, yet I'm also putting that leadership into other places and other arenas as well outside of the Toastmasters environment. Growth and experiencing it and finding the joy in that is what's next for me.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And Cassandra, thank you for joining us today and sharing your wisdom with the Born to Speak to You community.
You're
We're
welcome. Thank
going
you
to
for
take,
having me.
oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. As I said, this has been a long time coming. So mark it off the checklist.
There we go.
it's,
Good.
it's done. So thank you again. And we'll be right back after this short commercial. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV. Here is your Born to Rise tip. Never quit. If you stumble, just get back up. What happened yesterday no longer matters because today is another day. So get back on track and move closer to your dreams and your goals. You can do this. You got this, but you cannot quit. When you quit, things fall through the cracks. Sometimes it's hard to get going again. So if you stumble, and we all do, just get back up. What happens yesterday, let it stay where it is in the past. It doesn't matter. Today is another day. And get back on track. Move closer to your dreams and your goals because you can do it.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. And man, what a powerful conversation we've had today. This episode was Voice, Vision, and Leadership, a conversation with my guest, Cassandra Lee. And if today's conversation inspired you, here's what I want you to do. First, share this episode with someone who is developing their own leadership voice. And second, if you want to grow as a communicator, a leader, or someone that can influence change, consider joining a Toastmasters club, take some Dale Carnegie courses, or find some online communication or leadership courses. And finally, make sure that you subscribe, follow, and share Born to Speak to You TV, where we bring you the conversations with leaders, speakers, and difference makers who are using their voice to shape the world. Because here we believe something very simple. Everyone was born to speak. And you see the QR code on your screen. Scan the QR code to see all of the episodes, past, present, and future, of Born to Speak to You TV. And remember, everyone was born to speak to someone. And sometimes that voice can lead an entire movement. And sometimes it can help you speak life into the moments that matter. I'm Calvin Gibbs, and I'll see you next time on Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose, and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow. Speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase, every beat, a breakthrough cue. Yeah, he was born to speak to you. Let the melody rise, let the message renew. He was born to speak to you. For mindset.
Speak life into the moments that matter. Speak life into the moments that matter.